Hey guys, so I decided to make a different kind of skirt. So in this tutorial, I'll be showing us how to make a bias skirt. Just like the name implies, a bias skirt means you will have to cut it on bias, basically. I'll mark the wrong side of my fabric and I will fold it diagonally. So folding it diagonally like I want to cut a 180-degree flay, I'll get to mark the point at which it will contain my waist circumference. So waist circumference of 34, and I got that point and marked it. At that point, I will draw an horizontal line to indicate the waistline. So the measurement of waist circumference 34, hip line 8 inches. So from the waistline there, I measured downwards 8 inches and marked it, and I'm drawing a horizontal line there. From the waistline again, I'm measuring downwards 20 inches, and that will be for my knee line. I'm measuring 20 inches, and that will be for my knee line. From the waistline to the skirt length is 30 inches, and I'm adding 1 inch for hemming allowance. At this point, I am simply drawing horizontal lines. So then I will go back to the waistline. On the waistline, I'm placing a quarter of my waist measurement plus 1 inch. On my hip line, I am placing a quarter of the hip circumference plus 1 inch as same allowance. On the knee line there, I am placing exactly what I have on the hip line, that is the hip divided by 4 plus 1 inch. And on the hem, I'll place what I have on the hip line, exactly what I have on the hip line, and I'm adding about 4 inches. That's because I want the hem to be flay. So I'll connect what I have on my skirt length to the knee, and then I'll connect my hip line to the knee line, and then the waistline to the hip line. So I'll just need to cover the sharp edge I have there at my knee line, okay, and just blend it like so. So now this is just the front panel of the skirt, and I'll simply cut this out. Folding the fabric diagonally again, unfold, I'll place the front panel on it and pin it down. At the waistline, I'll go up with 1 inch. Now the back waistline is 1 inch higher than the front panel, and then I'll cut it out. After cutting it out, this is what I have. Note how the flake came out, and if you don't want that, you can reduce the inches of the flake. So the next thing, I will cut out the facing for the waistline. I am folding this piece of the fabric that I have, and then cutting the facing for the front panel first. I'll make sure the folded edge, the center front, okay, now remember it's on fold, aligns with the folded part of the fabric. So you will do well to pin this down, and then I'll simply cut it through, cut it exactly what I have on the waistline, and then some at the edge there. So I'm using 3 inches for the facing, and because I'm using ½ inch for sewing, so I'll need to use 3.5 inches, and that's what I'm measuring downwards, and then I'll cut it out. Cutting it out, that will be for the front panel, and so I'll notch the midpoint, and remember to notch the midpoint of the front panel as well. So I'll do the exact same thing on the back panel. I'll align it and cut the same thing on the waistline and around the edge there. Okay, and then I'll measure from the waistline that I've cut out. I'll measure 3.5 inches downwards, cut it out and notch the midpoint. So when I'm done with that, I'll simply need to, so there's the sewing part is not a difficult one. So first off, I'll bring the facing together. So you will need to measure your waistline at this instant. Now, for you to have a good fit and not have a loose waistline, you will need to reduce your waist measurement by 2 inches because it's a flake. It's cut like a flake, so you will need to reduce the inches because at this point it must have expanded. So you measure your waist circumference on the facing, take it to the machine and sew out the the allowance I have for stitching. And then for the skirt part, I will open up the back panel. Remember, it does not have any joining in the middle back, so the zipper will be at the side, on the left side precisely. So I'll take it to the machine and take out the seam allowance, hem the skirt, and then use the facing to turn the waistline. And this is what we have.